all came from the back of a trunk of a car, mostly. The ones I use for testing that you guys have seen are brand new. We have a couple brand new ones. But a lot of the other machines that are back there on the shelf literally were in the trunk of a car. They obviously were a guy that did DME, and the car got totaled or something, and a bunch of machines. And a student of mine actually bought the car, found the machine. So I'll show you the brand new one first, because it's not gross. This machine is like your basic. It's a little older, the newer ones, but it's still a small. It doesn't have a humidifier attached. So that would be something that you would have to add on. Just kind of like learning kind of the gist of how the machines work, where you plug it in. This is where your filter is. So making sure when the patient sets this up, this doesn't get blocked. Usually tell the patient to set up the machine on like a nightstand or something that's about the same level as your head. Because if you have this on the floor, it's going to be sucking up all the dust bunnies off the floor and it's going to be gross. If you have it on a really high shelf, you take a turn, this thing could come crashing down on you. And it's not heavy, but it's not light. I wouldn't want this landing on my head. This is where you connect your tubing, how you turn it on and off. And then you would have to like be familiar with the functionality of the machine itself, be able to show them how to get into the different menu options, blah, blah, blah. So luckily, like the DME, when you're in DME, they pretty much work with one machine. So it's really easy to kind of get familiar with that machine itself. How to access their SD card. If like you were to tell the patient, you need your SD card, that's where you would find it. See, that's not one. How to get it out. So bring it into the machine or into the appointment and everything. This is an older machine, so it does not have Wi-Fi capabilities. The patient would have to bring the SD card in. I've actually never seen this machine in real life. In all my travels, I've never seen any person actually using this machine. I've only ever seen it here. But they do make like skins and stuff that you can put on it, so you can have like your picture printed or whatever. Do you guys remember? I forgot to bring that one. We have one back in the lab, and it's like the shell of a machine. It looks like a real machine, but it's what you'd have up as like a display. But it looks a lot of times like a either like a music player or like a clock radio. So it doesn't always look like it's a medical device. If you were to walk into somebody's room, you wouldn't know right away that they have like some kind of CPAP machine or some medical device right there. This machine came out of the trunk of a car, and it's more similar to like how the new machines are, like in terms of going through the setup and this and that. So the way things are packed up, you've got like your like it comes with the bag ready to go, so everything's got its place where you pack it up. Same thing with that. The machine itself, got your filters. So sometimes, usually when the patient gets their machine, you get like the new filters. So this would be like the sponge filter that they clean on a weekly basis. So we usually give them two. So that way, like, okay, when this one's getting cleaned or when this one's wet, you put this one in the machine. So you know you're never putting a wet machine or a wet filter in. This is the filter that gets changed. So like this is the one that when it starts to turn like a dark gray, you swap it out. Because these machines were legit used and they were in a smoker's home, I saved some of the filters. They're really gross. You want to smell them? I dare you. Like, open it up. Go ahead. Do it. Do it. These machines, I had to run for hours, and they still would smell like smoke. Like, I don't know. I know I'm very sensitive to that smell, but they were still really bad. And then we even have the So Clean that, yeah. I don't know if they still smell. Do they? They're like a couple of years old. But yeah, you can see it. Like, it's, yeah, like just, you'll see these disgusting things come up. So this is the machine itself. You have the machine, the humidifier. So showing the patient the different components of the machine. Like I said, this is an older version, but it's very similar to the new ones anyway. Like the components are all the same. So typically we would start the setup process by showing them kind of the outside of the machine. Like this is the old version of the modem. So this is how we could actually get them to remote in, but obviously now it's built in, and then that's where their SD card is. This is where the filters are. A lot of nice cat hair in this one. So you've got, you know, your fine particle filter, this filter, like showing them the order that they're supposed to put them in, so that, and making sure this is in blocks, they know where their filters are, explaining how to clean them, their modem, and then I would explain the modem component of it. Where you would plug the power cord in. It seems kind of like intuitive. How we would, where we'd connect the tubing, and I would show them the humidifier. So the humidifier itself, how to access the chamber, pop that up, this pops out. That's how you fill it up with water. You've got the max fill line, min fill line. A lot of the newer versions of the humidifier chambers are top shelf dishwasher safe. The one brand of the machine, like I just heard of too many people would wash in the dishwasher. It says it's dishwasher safe, and then this thing would start leaking, and it leaked into their machine, ruined their nightstand. So soap and water, vinegar and water works really well with this. Essentially, with the humidifier, you got to show them like how to open it. Like it seems pretty easy, right? So you try to do it yourself, but it does. Oh, good. How to get to it so you can clean it, how to take it apart, how to fill it. So, you know, don't fill it past the max fill line every night, put it with distilled water. If you still have water left over that night, then refill it, but every other night at least dump it out, give it a quick rinse, and then you just kind of line it up, close it, and it slides back in. Because of the machine, you can disconnect your humidifier from the machine itself. Not all patients use the humidifier, especially as we're going into the warmer summer months. So showing them how to disconnect, especially some patients when they travel, they want to go bare bones. There are travel machines patients can buy. They are not covered by insurance. You have to pay out of pocket for them. The other component of the travel machines and the patients, they always want to know, like, because some people are willing to spend money on these things, is they're actually not any smaller than the machine itself without the humidifier. And because they're smaller, they had to actually weight it more so that when it's sitting on the nightstand, it doesn't pull, you know, as much from the tubing. So that's what I tell the patients. And the motors aren't built the same. They're not going to last the way these motors will. These motors will last 10 years plus, thousands and thousands of hours on it. So how you disconnect is you just kind of pull it and give it a wiggle. And then the patient can just connect their tubing right to the machine itself. And then this is actually pretty light. I usually will do it for them, then I'll have them do it. Yep, there's a slide on the bottom you're going to catch. You see that one underneath the, nope. Hold it on the sides the way you had it. And then there's on your right hand, there's a slide. Pull that. Take the humidifier out. Take the chamber out of the humidifier so you can practice doing that just like we would with the patient. Opening the lid. Don't give me that look, because you know what? Push the filters, take the filters in and out, because they do like slide in. Not on this one, these ones, it's mess up the new ones. So I make sure that they're familiar with taking the filters apart, putting them back together. Oh, yeah, not as easy, right? Snotty pants. Keep your attitude over there. Tubing. Universal ends. Does not matter which end you connect to the machine, which end you connect to the mask. I always explain that to the patient. The tubing is 6 feet long. So usually what we'll say is like, you know, when you're cleaning it, there's a few different ways. If you have a basin, you can like sink it in the basin, let it soak, or just drop like your soap, a drop or two in one end, and let the water rinse through till it rinses through clean. Hang it up over like your shower curtain to dry. The other thing is that it dries pretty quickly by just connecting it to the machine and letting the air run through, you know, that type of thing. So explaining all these little bits to it, right? There's a lot. Power cord. We used to recommend that every patient plug it in with an surge protector because you want to protect the machine if something were to happen. However, come to find out, using a surge protector during the machine's warranty period actually voids the warranty. So make sure it's plugged directly into the wall until the warranty period is over. And then I tell them, use a surge protector. Or if you didn't, you know, and something happens, it was plugged into a wall. Wink, wink. So explaining to them that, and explain like your machine stays plugged in. You don't have to unplug it every morning. You just leave it plugged in. You know, all these little things you don't even think of to explain. Placement, nightstand, use it at least 4 hours a night. Turn the machine on, show them how to turn it on, functionality of the ramp, functionality of the different menu options within the machine itself. I don't really don't worry about, you know, breaking it because I don't even know if it works, honestly, that one in particular. You know, cable. The other thing I brought is what's known as a Passover humidifier. This is a humidifier that it can be used with any machine. Essentially what happens is you fill this chamber with water, distilled water, and it's got a lot of like walls in there. Can you see that? And essentially then,
yes, I can see.
There's a little tubing. So you set your machine on top, you connect the little piece of tubing from your machine to one end. The air then passes through this, gets bounced all around with the water, and then you connect the tubing that's connected to the hose to that. So this is another version of a humidifier. It's not warmed. It's just, you know, whatever temperature the water is, whatever temperature the room air is. But it's a version of a humidifier. It's known as a Passover humidifier. It's what we use a lot in prison so they don't get the heating element because there's metal in it and stuff. That can't have that. But it's an option for any machine that doesn't, maybe a humidifier is an option. They can always use one of these, just kind of sets. I always tell them with the machine itself, make sure that like you're not moving the machine when you have the humidifier in or anything like that. So like if you've got to move the machine or anything like that, take the chamber out. You just really want to make sure that no water backs into the guts of the machine or anything like that. We just did the lecture. I don't want to like repeat myself. I normally would actually in lab go through the whole thing again just to reiterate it, but I know I just said it all in lecture, so I know I'm like not saying everything. Remember everything. I still use this. I do when I do my setups. Talked about the power switch, the power cord. You don't have to unplug it. You'll make sure you're plugging it into a grounded outlet. We talked about cleaning, so you just wipe down the outside if it gets dirty. So when I talk about the components of the machine, like the filters, the tubing, I'll talk about cleaning, and then I sum it up again because it's so important, like just to reiterate. You know, the filters, the black one, you're going to clean once a week when you do your weekly dishes, and the white one, just watch for it to turn a dark gray. You throw it out, replace it every couple months. Placement of the unit, so make sure it's on the nightstand, you know, not on the floor, stuck it in the dust bunnies. Talk about the tubing, how to put the mask on, how to fit the straps, cleaning the mask, you know, like, so part that's touching your skin, you're cleaning it every day, wipe it down, something, and then once a week, you're going to do a deep clean of everything, the head straps as needed. Filters, yeah, we talked about cleaning those. Turn the machine on before you put the mask on, helps inflate the mask so you get a better fit with it. You measure, then we talk about the pressure the patient's at, If you're wearing a nasal mask, make sure you keep your mouth closed. If you are waking up with a dry mouth, that could mean that your mouth is opening. So, let us know. That's something to watch for. You might need to switch to a full face mask, or we might just have to add a chin strap, but oftentimes it's something that can go away on its own as you get used to your therapy. You've got your operating manual in here with instructions if there's anything you have questions on. There's also typically instructions on how to connect your phone to the app if you want to do that. How to, if you're traveling, we talk about that. And then obviously call us, be the squeaky wheel if you have any questions. And if we're not around, here's your tech support number. So you see how I kind of use this to help me as well, to kind of reiterate everything, bring it all back together. I have the patient as I'm doing it. A lot of times they look at me like, and then as soon as I hand them it and like, I'll mess the filters up, like switch them around. Like, okay, it's one thing to take them out of the machine, literally separate them and put it right back in. But when you're cleaning, that's not how it's going to happen. You're going to have them fully apart. So I'll take them and I'll kind of mess them up and then give it back to them to figure out how to put together and put back in. Because it's, it mimics more like what they're going to see when they're home. I'll usually turn the machine on, obviously, so they can hear it. So they can hear how quiet it is. I'll have the tubing connected and show them with the machine on, how it sounds. I actually do that with the new one. I'm not going to plug this one in because it usually stinks. I always feel a need to wash my hands after touching these machines. So usually I would never do this with my bare hand. I wouldn't even do it with a gloved hand, occluding it, because this is something that's connecting to their breathing. I would actually take the bag the tubing came in and use the clean inside of that to occlude it so they can hear it. So there's the machine on. There's the sound of it when it's connected to the mask. You're hearing the air leaking. It's loud, but that's not how it sounds when you have your mask on. People complain about the sound of these. I just want to smack. No, you can't. So that's usually, there's certain like menu options you can only get to when the machine is on. So I always save the tubing bag came in so I can use that to occlude. So I'm not talking over this, and like explaining, okay, this is how you adjust your humidity now, and this is how you adjust this setting, that setting, and then some of the other options you can get in once you turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. That's the most important. Other menu options. I usually sum it up to my appointments with, like, I know we just covered a lot. Name of the game here, though, the most important takeaways are just make sure you're using it. Whether you want to use any of the other extra menu options in here is completely up to you. Just make sure that you're using the machine 4 hours a night, 70% of the nights, and keep it clean. Those are the takeaways. Obviously, my appointments for prison go a lot quicker because I don't have to talk about insurance. I don't have to talk about humidifiers. It's mainly like the bare bones of the machine itself. So probably why I like working in prison so much. But questions? The machines are back there. The ones that are in these cases are brand new. So like these ones are all used. They've been sanitized. I've run them through the SoClean. We do have a SoClean here. I've run them through the SoClean usually 2 to 3 times at least to try to eliminate that smoke smell. And the SoClean actually makes it have a very weird chemical smell, actually. So some of them do work. You can plug them in, play around with them, whatever you want to do. That's the DME Lab. All right, let's take a break before farm. I'm gonna let you go, Svetlana.
Okay, see you at what time? For
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much.